make sure that the population is healthy, and also to educate for sustainability and for the growth of the country. And this State Department is at the center of that. It's basically the fulcrum on which the rest of government oscillates around. So there is a critical role on coordination so that then government policies are properly not just articulated, but are also properly implemented across government. So that is one of the key responsibilities. Then there is the question of security, to ensure that Kenyans are safe, but not just safe, that people can go on about their businesses peacefully without disruptions or interference. So again, this State Department is critical in ensuring that is achieved. And then the third bit is in terms of promoting nationhood and statehood within the country. So again, this State Department is critical in achieving that. And this is through the officers at various levels, right from the top down to the assistant chiefs, and of course by extension the other members of the public who are engaged and who support that particular facet of ensuring or fostering that we remain one nation, one state, with a common agenda, without unnecessary division and disruptions. I think I've responded to all the questions.
Yeah, I think you have really tried to handle. So, members.
At least I'm happy that my agent is now nominated as the principal secretary. You know. But Mr. Omolo, there are so many administrative units that have been created in the last maybe 5 or more years, but unfortunately they have not been operationalized. In my constituency alone, there are 2 sub-counties, one created 5 years ago and the other one created at least a year before the elections, but not operationalized. One has a DCC, but the other one not yet. And across the country, the same thing happens. So many sub-counties, administrative units were created, but they have not been operationalized. What is your plan now that you are coming as a principal secretary in this strategic department? What is your plan in operationalizing these administrative units? Number 2, especially in the pastoralist areas, like where I come from, in Mandera, we have problems of insecurity. And our police officers have been overpowered recently. And it is now handled by, or assisted by the Kenya Police Reserves and the National Police Reserves. I'm sure you understand the difference between the two. Kenya Police Reserves are normally paid by counties, but National Police Reserves are paid by the national government. Now these two, the county KPRs are paid 10,000 shillings a month, while the National Police Reserves are paid 5,000 shillings. You can understand someone you entrusted with a gun and you are paying him so little like that. What will follow? What is your plan also in changing the lives of those people, motivating them by giving them a higher pay, giving them pension? Recently in my constituency, there are 8 of them shot by the terrorists. Their kids are now suffering. There is no pension. There is no, compensation. What is your plan in, changing the lives of those people and maybe entrenching them in our police forces? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, and the honorable members. Karibu, Mr. Omolo. About climate change. We all know climate change is a global problem, and it is affecting Kenya. Climate change has actually impacted negatively on the issue of food production. My question is, do you think these two problems, or the insecurity of food insecurity and environment insecurity, is under your docket? And if so, how are you going to mitigate with the common mwananchi or with the community? My number 2 question, Mr. Chair, concerns the village elders. Mr. Chair, I want to ask for your permission to speak in Kiswahili, because I would also want them to listen to what you are saying. Okay, asante sana. Bwana Omolo, tunakupongeza sababu umeteuliwa kuja kuwa PS katika ofisi ya Internal Security. Ningependa tu kuuliza swali chache kuhusu wazee ya vijiji na nyumba 10. Tuko na hawa pale nyumbani, na ni structure ama ni mpango ya serikali kufanya kazi na hao wazee, vile mnafanya kazi, vile utafanya kazi na chiefs. Ningependa utuelezee unaelewa nini kuhusu vijiji, wazee ya vijiji na nyumba 10. Tofauti yao ni nini? Maoni yako ni nini? So utilie maanani, utueleze leo kazi ya vijiji, ya wazee ya vijiji ni nini, na kazi ya nyumba 10 ni nini?
Chairman. Point of
order. Yes, mhurumia Mheshimiwa Rosa. Ni shida kwake sana, na tungependa siku moja ajaribu kuongea kwa lugha ya Kiswahili, sio ungenge kila mara. So bwana Amolo, utuelezee vizuri sana, hawa ni wale watenda kazi, mtafanya kazi na hawa kila mara na ni wengi sana. Wangependa kusikia maoni yako kuwahusu. Asante bwana mwenyekiti.
Fair enough, fair enough. I think
for up to 7 years has been a challenge in the ministry. How are you going to address this challenge if appointed? That is one. Then question number 2 is the current situation. Currently crime rate has gone up in the country, with survey indicating that most crimes are committed in broad daylight. Fine criminals are targeting individuals, business premises, residential homes, M-Pesa operators, banks, and other personal and private property. In your view, what is the cause of rising crime in Kenya? And if approved, what measures are you going to put in place to ensure that the lives and property of Kenyans are protected? Question number 3, what is your strategy in fighting re-emergence of criminal gangs and proliferation of small arms in the country? Last but not least, you find that for several years now, cattle rustling has been going on in the northern Kenya for over 40 years. Lives have been lost and people are living in fear, and that is a day-to-day threat for people living in those counties. It is no longer a cultural practice, but has become a fully fledged, organized and commercialized crime. What plans do you have to eradicate the menace of banditry and cattle rustling once and for all, and beef up security in the affected areas? That is some parts of the Rift Valley, the Kerio Valley, the northern part of Kenya, and other parts of the nation. Thank you.
In 2019, government added more responsibilities to the national government administrative officers. Among them is maintain good government image, representation of the head of state at any position, and promotion of statehood and nationhood. Now, would ask first, what policies do you think needs to be put in place to ensure that these officers are able to undertake these responsibilities? Then probably from a point of issues that we have seen in during the last elections, we saw administrative officers, national government administrative officers, chiefs, campaigning for particular candidates. chiefs, of course, and the national government administrative officers will work for the government of the day. But they are also supposed to be partisan. What do you think you'll do with the new government to ensure that this does not happen in our country again? Do you think that is a portrayal of a good image, government image, you know, when they are campaigning for particular candidates and yet they are supposed to be non-partisan? We have also seen within the ministries profiling of officers on tribal basis. A law working, for example, in central Kenya. And when there is a government that probably one or the other leans towards tribal, because that's what you have seen in Kenya, there was an instance of an officer who was interdicted for 6 months on the grounds that he was seen to be partisan or to be supporting a particular political party. What would you do to ensure that you protect the civil servants, and also to ensure that the civil servants maintain that image of being non-partisan, and that they should be working for all Kenyans? Thank you.
Membership of the committee, the honorable members, for the opportunity to present myself, to allow you assess my suitability. And I carry away with me a lot of insights, a lot of very positive engagements, and it is something I don't take for granted. And I also want to thank the President for nominating me, because without that I would not be before you. And generally, yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Raymond, on more engagement. So, members, we can have the nominees quoted. Yeah.
Thank you.